Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is official. Donald Trump's running for president 2024. Not unexpected. We've been waiting for this to happen, and we were even teased a little bit when he had that rally with J.D. Vance. But as Stephen Miller, his advisor, said, it was going to be a nice buttoned down affair. Everybody was going to be sort of on their best behavior, and it was going to be a little bit less rambunctious than some of the rallies were. And he was right. It was very formal. They had a nice crowd there. Everybody was sort of suit and tied up, and Donald Trump spoke for I think about an hour, and it was more sort of toned down and even keeled. Some people were saying, a little bit boring. I saw some reaction. It was like, well, I thought he was going to come out and backhand somebody or something, and it's like, no, it's a little bit of a different tone than 2016 and even 2020, and I think that's really the right evolution of the Trump campaign. He has tried, a number of different permutations, and Trump is very good at this. Like, people don't, I think, give him enough credit. He tries a bunch of stuff, whether you agree with it or not, and he can, adjust, and I think he's a lot more intentional than people give him credit for. But we saw that yesterday, right? He came out and he delivered a speech with a lot more of a neutral tone, and people were noticing, man, there wasn't even a whole lot of, the R word or the F word or any talk about 2020. It was sort of a little bit more forward looking. And I think that if he continues to modulate and sort of find this path, he's going to have a lot more success. And we started to see that. So I think it was a good evolution. And I don't know that it was necessarily boring. It certainly wasn't the rallies that we have seen, but I think that's a good thing. Rallies serve a purpose, and a presidential announcement and an official launching of a campaign serves an entirely different purpose. In 2016, from the conservative perspective, from the Republican side, it was Trump needed to make a bunch of noise to capture a bunch of air and get the attention. But now things are I think things are different now. COVID really turned this into, I think, much more of a life and death situation with politics, and it's really become kind of a blood sport now, beyond just the jabs. People want plans, people want 3 steps or whatever to have some meaningful change beyond just the red meat, beyond just the barbs. And I think that Trump is modulating in that way, which is a good thing. Now, I was taking a look at the reaction all over the media, and I've been sort of critical about this, over the last few days or so. It feels to me like the Republicans are just chomping at the bit to sort of knife themselves to death. Knife Trump. Trump's going to knife DeSantis, and the GOP is going to knife America First. America First is going to knife them back. And I'm thinking this is not good at all, because, it really divides the party. And I think it's sort of intentional. I think that the Democrats are instigating this in a big way. And we saw that with clips from, Raskin and others. They're like, no, Trump, he could be the Speaker of the House. Like, we have to keep talking about this. And we have to get the Republicans on record, one way or another, taking a position, because that wedge is going to give them sound bites and article headlines and all sorts of stuff that they're going to be able to use for the next 2 years, right? If somebody comes out and says, yes, no, I support Donald Trump, I endorse him, and there's a lot of people who are doing that, and then he gets indicted and, convicted, or something happens, right? Then they're going to go back and say, see what you did, see how you supported him, see, how dare you, right? Whether it's a legitimate indictment or not, like a lot of this stuff doesn't even really matter to some people. They just hear the word, Trump's indicted, he's a criminal, regardless of, what it's for, overdue library books or whatever. So it's intentionally trying to anchor people into that position so that it can be used against them. So I think today we'll see, in the foreseeable future, a lot of people hedging in their reactions. Lindsey Graham said, well, we have to wait until after Georgia. Let's keep our eye on the prize. First priorities first. And other Republicans, right, on the way in and out of Congress, Senator, you heard about Trump's announcement yesterday. What do you think, sir? Are you going to endorse it? Well, I've given it a lot of thought, and, it's just too early for me. All that crap. Why? Because they want to anchor them in and use that against them as this primary develops. So we just finished one primary. We just finished one election. We got like a day. I think we had Monday off. Maybe Tuesday off. Sort of. Not really. We still don't know what the House is. So it's like this perpetual election cycle. And they are taking photos over here on the stairs. Should we go off-roading? Should we off-road it? Let's off-road it. I want to interrupt their photos. So Trump makes this announcement. The Democrats are just thrilled. And I'm looking at all of the reaction throughout the media. And, this knifing is going on. And you're seeing it, and I think you're going to see some people hedge, and you're going to see some people pick sides. And at some point, depending on the outcome, we all have to recognize, like, we all have to be friends again, okay? We can go beat each other up, but we all have to become friends again at some point, presumably, in order to support, the candidate that best serves the interests of freedom. That's my ultimate take on the whole thing. So I think people should be very careful about calling each other, whatever is being called. And I think a lot of people have been very, very giddy, almost, just waiting like a jack in the box to pop up. I disavow Trump. I hate Trump. I've said that for a long, and you're seeing it all over the place, without naming people. But it is going to continue. And as I'm reading the media, the headlines, I was thinking about it in terms of how do you assign labels or value the headlines or the pieces that are being written about Trump's announcement. So I was thinking about it in terms of like a survey. You fill those surveys out. How was the meal tonight? How was your steak? Was it okay? Was it average? Sort of neutral? Was it good? Was it excellent? Or was it bad or very bad? Those surveys. And you go, well, it was, this one was good, somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, whatever, you fill those surveys out. So I was thinking about all of the headlines in that format. So Washington Post, Fox News, New York Times, CNN, I have this sort of list of things that I sort of check when I think about what are we talking about today, and I'm sort of watching the news. So all of these, and you say, okay, well, how are they reporting on this story? Is it neutral in the middle? Is it mega? Is it ultra mega? Very supportive of Donald Trump in this vein of, ultra mega is, Trump. Under Trump, the American economy has never seen the economic boom. The border was secure. We had no inflation. We had no brink of World War III. All of the things were better. That Trump made an announcement for presidency, running for presidency, right? And that's the framing of it. Then you have sort of shades of that in between. You say, well, that reporting is kind of mega. That's pretty ultra mega, right? That's pretty okay. Positive framing. And you've got neutral. And then on the other side, you've got unmega and ultra unmega, right? The opposite of the other side. And this is the, Donald Trump, twice impeached, under criminal investigation, nuclear secrets, document thief, insurrectionist, murderer, who kills puppies, is announcing that he's running for the third time because he's a loser. Kind of one of those stories. And there's a lot of those too. So that's going to be the ultra unmega on the other side of the analysis. And I'm going through and I'm like, okay, whoa, that's a lot of ultra UnMegas, ultra megas, out there. A lot of those puff pieces for other people, and then of course pretty aggressive pieces against Trump. And there's categories also where they're just ignoring. We're just going to kind of put a little headline down here on the other side and just kind of ignore it, and we will just kind of not give it any air or oxygen. And so there's a lot of that going on too. And so most of these are pretty predictable. The people, who don't want to give Trump any oxygen are sort of, UnMega and sort of ignoring. Then you've got the normal people, ultra, mega. But one of them was surprising to me today, which was Fox News, actually. I would put them, from what I saw, in the ultra UnMega category, based on a screenshot that I took this morning. Just flipped over to their homepage. They've got two stories back to back. One on top, one on bottom. The one on top says something like, GOP looks to new era of leadership with the vision of Ron DeSantis in 2024. And it's this great picture of him. And I don't have anything wrong with Ron DeSantis. He seems like a great candidate. But it was a very favorable framework, okay, for this story. If you put that on the mega scale, it's pretty ultra mega. It's like, what the heck? What are you talking about? It's like a news article. And it was a really favorable piece. And Trump has gotten those pieces from Fox News before. Many of them, right, historically. And in this case, it was about Ron DeSantis. And he's like walking out, his kids are there. It's beautiful red, white and blue, America, fireworks, bald eagles. I'm like, wow, dang, man, yeah, I support that guy, certainly. It's like America incarnate right there on that photograph. And then right below it was a Trump photo, a Trump story. And the Trump story was something like, Trump ignores GOP rivals in third bid for 2024 or something like that. Third bid for presidency or 2024 bid for presidency. You're going, whoa, that's a little different. It's a little different interpretation of that, So it's like the whole framing of this has been about Ron DeSantis. And you're seeing other sort of conservative entities, maybe you watch or subscribe to them, sort of all just boop, jumping ship. And I think that's perfectly fine, and that's their prerogative. I just get concerned that they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I think is the phrase. And sort of the glee and the speed and the willingness to just sort of adjust. It's been pretty interesting to watch. And if it doesn't work out in their favor, if something happens and Trump secures the nomination, right, as he's still favorited to do at the moment, in some polls are showing a reversal and things, but there's going to have to be a period of reconciliation here. And I hope that there is not too much damage done by the time we get there. But of course, this is still very early, and there is a lot of runway left before real decisions have to be made. But it is going to be interesting to follow. I mean, the whole balance of power is going to be interesting. The change is going to be interesting to follow. Going to be a lot of very interesting clips of John Fetterman. He's walking into Congress. His wife is like taking front stage. It's weird. We're going to have Katie Hobbs, whose schedule's pretty much set, all the time here in Arizona. It's going to be crazy. But It's only going to escalate, I think, for the GOP and for the Republican Party, but actually maybe not for a little bit. I don't know that there's really any strong pressure on Ron DeSantis or really anybody to declare immediately. And their current strategy is to sort of ignore and delay, ignore and sort of carry on. And I think that strategy might work well for them. Meanwhile, Trump is under some continual microscopes, and a lot of people are waiting for the DOJ to make a decision on indicting him. And I think that a big portion of our analysis here has been who goes first, Trump or the DOJ, and Trump went first, right? He finally got that anchored in. I don't know that he would ever acknowledge, or that his team would ever acknowledge that, or maybe it's not maybe it's reality, that he's baking that into the equation. Did he want an early announcement because of some legal developments? I don't know, but we'll probably not know until stuff starts hitting. But I'm still of the mindset that the DOJ is really, really itching to indict him. And now that I think about it, you could play this out two different ways. You could say if the DOJ indicted him, that might rally people to his side and gain him the nomination, right? Because he gets more support, forces the Republicans to coalesce behind him, or alternatively, it weakens him to the point that he doesn't become the nominee because the indictment is too much of an albatross hanging around his neck. And if the Democrats want him to be the candidate because they think that they can beat him, and I think that is a legitimate thing. I think they do think that, and that might actually be true, right? I mean, we don't know, but you can see how this would play out. And I do think that the very partisan DOJ is making those considerations at the highest levels. How does this game out politically? And it's not Merrick Garland who's sitting there going through constitutional law textbooks, racking his brain around legal briefs, trying to decide, do I have the power to do this? Is this the appropriate decision in the context of history? I doubt it. I think it's much more likely they are figuring out the politics of this to further their continual reign. And we'll see how it goes. But I hope you are having a great day, my friends. We'll be back normal time on the show today. Had an awesome dinner last night. Was out much past my bedtime, but met some amazing people and made some great connections and had a very refreshing evening. It was actually exhausting, but very refreshing spiritually. So hope you're getting some of that yourself. Here's some sunshine for you if you're not getting any. The snow and the winter season all coming out, but hopefully you are getting some fresh air, doing those breathing exercises, and I'll look forward to seeing you tonight. Bye-bye.